Good morning, everybody. Thanks very much to the other two presenters before me. They're incredibly interesting sessions. I have a few takeaways from those. And this is me, Alejandra, you can see in the screen. I'm head of international mobility at Northumbria University, but I'm also a member of the University Strategy Advisory Board, and that's quite important and useful for someone who works in internationalization because you have a voice amongst all the important voices of the university. And also I'm based in a careers team. My team is embedded into careers. So we only work with opportunities for our students doing things internationally or virtually. And we do have an international commercial team based in a different directorate of the university who respond to the PVC International. Our line is to the PVC education as well. This is quite important for us, and you'll see in a minute. But before we get started, I would like to invite everybody to join me and see if this works. You can open the QR code on your phone to interact with me. There's a few questions I'd like to ask throughout the discussion. I would also like to invite you to, if you want to show your camera, that's fine, so we can have a little bit of a discussion instead of, I don't want to talk for 30 minutes. My presentation is not that long. I would like to have a little bit of a discussion with colleagues if that's possible. I have lots of questions for you as well. And the first one here, hopefully that works. If anyone can confirm that that works fine. You don't have to
Yeah,
sign
it works.
Amazing. First success of the week. Thank you. It's the little things, isn't it? So my question for you guys before we start is when you hear the term international strategy, what words come into your mind? That's my question for you. Anything like the first thing that you think about. Mobility, income. That's an interesting one. Yes, that's exactly what I was referring to before. Leadership. It's a good word to think about as well. Intercultural competence. Excellent. Thank you very much. That's really important. Global reach and impact. Impact is a very important word as well. We need to be aware of and use constantly. Numbers and percentages, connections, increasing numbers. That's an interesting one. Global citizen or global citizenship. That's also very, very important. Measures. We're going to talk a little bit about measures of success. Competition. That's an interesting one. Recruitment and income. Those are also words that a lot of people think about when they talk about internationalization strategy or international strategy for that matter. So thanks for your comments. Cool. We're going to make all this very quick and snappy. So the presentation today and the discussion is about internationalization strategy and how you fit into the bigger picture, so to speak. And for that, you really need to know your context, because even though there's lots of people from the UK in this conference, we all have different contexts, and you really need to know where you're working, who you are, who your institution is, who your students are. And that's really important for us because in Newcastle, and obviously Daniel used to work in Newcastle, is familiar with the northeast of England. We are a former industrial area of the UK, and that's very significant for us, especially because we're the largest university in the northeast. As you can see, two contrasting sides of the slide there. We used to, shipbuilding and mining were the bread and butter of the northeast, and now we're this vibrant, very pretty, bustling town that recovered from that, but we still have lots of challenges as a city and as a region. Who we are, Northumbria, is also very important to be 100% aware of who you are as an institution, who you want to be as well. As you can see there, this graph really represents what we're trying to achieve at Northumbria. The bottom bit is normally the Russell Group institutions who are research intensive. You can see from the research power data here. And on the left-hand side, going vertically, you can see the institutions who are teaching institutions. And Northumbria, we on purpose have had a research strategy for a very long time that has made us a research-intensive university. However, we haven't forgotten what we're trying to achieve, and we on purpose recruit students from disadvantaged backgrounds. In the Northeast, our teams go into the local region, the more deprived areas, the countryside, to recruit students to help them achieve greater things and to go to university. That's the first step that they're trying to get through with the types of students that we do have in the Northeast. And who are these students? You can see there, a large majority of our students come from disadvantaged backgrounds or widening participation backgrounds or whatever you want to call them. So you can see we have about 37,000 students in total. We have nearly 10,000 of international students from 137 countries. It's very diverse in that sense. We are the 12th largest provider of undergraduate education in the UK. About 25% of our undergraduate students enter foundation year, so they have to do an additional year before they start the undergraduate program. 40% of the students are from Polus quintile 1 and 2, and that means more deprived areas, more disadvantaged areas financially. However, over 70% of our Northumbria students are white. So in our home undergraduate cohorts, the student body is not very diverse. So that represents a challenge for us. And also we have commuter students who don't live in Newcastle. We have mature students and so on and so forth. So this is something that we really need to understand when we talk about internationalization, international mobility, and all those kinds of things. I have another question for you at this point. Do you feel like you fully understand your institution's strategy and how your work contributes to it? It can be anonymous. You can be as honest as you want. And this is really important because this is how we keep our plans realistic, our teams involved. Every single member of the staff needs to understand their contribution to what we're trying to achieve here. So if they understand the university strategy, they'll be able to do that. Please feel free to raise your hand or comment or speak at any point if you have a question or a comment. That's fine. Cool. So this is pretty normal when I ask this question. It's good to see that more than 40% of you guys, well, it's going down a little bit, they do understand the institution strategy, what you're trying to achieve and how you contribute. Some not so sure, maybe a little bit of not really, but it's good to see that everybody has at least some understanding of where they are at this point. Thanks for your participation on that one. So why do I ask this question? Because we have at Northumbria a very clear strategy that is normally built around asking people what we should be doing. We go through a year-long process doing this, measuring the previous strategy, asking people, organizing workshops, etc., to decide exactly how we're going to achieve what we want to achieve. And we came up with these three main strategic ambitions. One is obviously the top right that we have world-leading research. So we continue with the previous strategy on that one, which is fine. Then the two important ones for us, for me, and for our team are empowering an inclusive economy, which means that more of our graduates work in highly skilled professions in their area of study, and also driving social mobility, that students from all backgrounds succeed after they graduate. And I'll tell you in a minute how we measure this. So we have very, very clear strategic ambitions that everybody is aware of. How we measure? We have measures of success, of course, and we measure the progress of these every 2 years. We have 2-year plans. And you can see there that power and inclusive economy, this is very important for us. We have to have a percentage of our programs with agreed credit-bearing opportunities within our experiential learning ambition. And this is very important to mention here because international mobility is one of the activities that contributes to the experiential learning ambition. And also for driving social mobility. At the bottom, you can see there that retention of our UK undergraduate students is very important for us, especially from certain backgrounds. And you know that a percentage of students from certain backgrounds are career ready at a certain point, and so on and so forth. So this is how we measure what we're trying to do and how we can start understanding where we can contribute with our internationalization activities. Okay. In that scenario, we have strategic delivery plans. We do have an international strategic delivery plan, as many universities do, but that is related to commercial activity. So how many international students we recruit, how much T&E activity we have overseas, how much income we generate every year, how much international research we deliver, and what the incoming international student experience is about. Obviously, people were talking about that before, and that's why the previous session was very interesting for me, because it's not just one team's responsibility, it's the entire university's responsibility. However, because we are based in careers and we respond to the PVC education, we are part of the education strategic delivery plan. We have a very clear objective around creating credit-bearing, transformative experiential learning for all our undergraduate students, and that's where international mobility comes into the picture. As you can see there, we have come up with these typologies and all the things that we support to create and embed and implement and deliver and measure experiential learning in all our programs, and international mobility is one of them. And people are very clear across the university that this is something that we can support. So we have a experiential learning hub per faculty, because obviously all programs are different. So we acknowledge that. And colleagues here, I just had a screenshot of our website there, and underneath that introduction, we have all the different types of support. We have a new international mobility opportunities development toolkit that we develop for colleagues to understand what is possible and how we can support. We also have specific suggestions for them. We have measures of success for international mobility. We have annual reports on how we're doing and what things are more popular. We have intelligence for them, etc. And that's how we deliver it for our colleagues. I hope that makes sense. But also I wanted to ask you if what you think about this, apart from the international university strategy in general, do you feel like your institution has a clear and measurable internationalization plan? Great. I wanted to ask people if you want to also comment on this, because for me, internationalization in our context, when we talk about internationalization, we're talking about internationalization of our students, internationalization of the curriculum, of the student experience, of the outcomes, of their career, of their employability. And sometimes when I talk to people about this, they say, oh, we have an international plan, or it's a national strategy. That means we're going to recruit this number of students, that we're going to have this number of students on campus, that we're going to have this much income every year on student recruitment or T&E, or we're going to have a number of bodies in the classroom that are international, not white British. And I think you have to be able to differentiate that, because it's or combine, and if you will. But it's interesting to see that it's split, and this is pretty normal. Say so, it depends on your role, or possibly on what you do on a day-to-day basis, I would say. But it's very interesting to me to see that some people are clear, some people are not, some people don't really know. Maybe an opportunity to go back and find out, give you a bit of food for thought there. So thanks for your answers. So we do have an international mobility plan. that we share with colleagues, and everybody's aware that goes along the contribution to the education strategic delivery plan. So as you can see there, our ambition is very ambitious, so to speak, but very clear. We want all our students to have an internationalization experience at university, whether it's in person or virtual, or internationalization at home, etc. And we want to achieve clear numbers as well, because you have to be quite clear on what you want to do. And for us, that means that 10% of our students are physically mobile, that they go abroad at some point during the program by 2030. So that's 3,700 per year. At the moment, if you count all different activities that we have fewer than 1,000. So that's a long way away, but we are ambitious. We want to improve this. But also for us, because at the beginning I said that at least 40% of our students from wide participation backgrounds, we have to make sure that that figure is represented in the number of students that go abroad. To be honest, short programs, more flexible things, the Turing scheme ambitions, that has massively helped our university achieve these numbers. Last year, of all the students that we supported financially with the Turing scheme to go abroad, 85% of them were from wide participation background. So it is having an impact on what we do and how we do it. And of those numbers, that the rest of the students participate or have an embedded virtual or internationalization at home activity in the curriculum, whatever that may be. And that's also pretty flexible. And we work with some colleagues who are experts on this kind of thing to share best practice and develop the activities for students. I even have a colleague who has been doing this for a good part of the last 20 years, and he's told me that he started working on this when it was called telecollaboration, which I found really interesting. So this is how we will achieve it. We also have to know the how. We will increase international mobility funding every year through the Turing scheme, the Access and Participation Plan. We contribute to the Access and Participation Plan as well, clearly. Santander Grants, British Council programs, and others. We'll also increase the outgoing numbers by 20% every year minimum. We'll focus on embedding short-term international activities in programs and modules, but doing it in a dynamic and flexible way. So we work with our partners, which is good for us, positive. The fact that we're in careers and we only work on a bilateral basis with all of our partners, that there's absolutely no fees involved in anything we do. This presents a very positive picture for colleagues who still want to work with us in the UK on exchanges, regardless of all the challenges that we've had in the last few years. And that means research exchanges, field trips, apprenticeships, anything that people come up with, pretty much we are happy to explore and be flexible about it. And at this point, I want to say that I'm very, very happy and positive now that our government is again having discussions about how to rejoin the next phase of Erasmus program. So that's very positive and useful for us. So that's what we're trying to do. And also wanted to show you a little bit how we measure the success and impact of our activities. Because we're based in a careers team, that gives us the access and understanding of how data is used for us to, even though the data, obviously, some lag indicators and some of it may be not very straightforward, but it's something that we use to have these discussions with our colleagues at all levels. So these are some examples of the things that we use. People in the UK will be familiar with the graduate outcomes data. So students in the UK after 15 months from graduation are surveyed, and they ask, what are you doing? Where are you living? How much are you earning? Are you in a professional job or not, etc. And we've seen constantly since we started doing this 5 years ago that the students who participate in international mobility always have higher positive markers. They always have better jobs, they're more quickly in a professional job, etc., or studying something else. So that helps us show the positive impact of international mobility. We also have our own career survey, pulse survey, We use Careers Online, which is a software to work with the students and their professional careers. And we want our students, before they graduate, we survey them in February before the final and during the final year of the program, to be at compete or achieve stage, which means that they are ready to apply for an interview, that they have an interview organized, that they have done a placement, and the employers have said that they would like to have them back, or they are ready to apply for a postgraduate course, or achieve is that they already have a job lined up, or they've already been accepted onto a postgraduate program, etc. So that's our measure of success. And we have seen that the students who study abroad, we have higher percentages of students that compete or achieve stage as well. And the Turing scheme, income and participation, we are one of the universities that receives quite a high funding from level from Turing, but we're also using more and more higher percentage every year and increasing the number of students from widening participation backgrounds in this program. So that's positive. Impact on attainment and gap reduction. We work with the colleagues in an accessibility and inclusion team because we contribute to the accent participation plan and we receive funding from the university to help them. So we have very clear objectives around that. And also academic success. We do the job of analyzing every year the degree classification of the students who did study abroad for a semester a year and compare their degree classification before they went abroad after 2 years of the program and when they graduate. And this past year, 78% of our students improved their degree classification from the students who participate in international mobility. So all those things we use to inform ourselves clearly on the impact. We obviously have experiential data and student testimonials and things like that, but possibly this is very important for us because we can have a serious discussion with colleagues and they can see how we contribute, not just by me saying it is very important. I'm just giving them this evidence. So to wrap up a little bit and have a little bit of a discussion at the end, we have an institutional strategy, as I said at the beginning. We want our students to be successful. We want all students from all backgrounds to be successful, equally successful. And within our education strategic delivery plan, we want to increase the number of students who have experiential learning embedded and credit into the programs. So by 2030, everyone does. We want all students to have an internationalization experience at Northumbria by 2030, and our team has these objectives as well. So every individual in our team will align their objectives every year to these ambitions. So they're very clear on what we're trying to do and how we're going to do it. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So then to finish the last few minutes, I wanted to ask you on this, what opportunities and challenges do you have when trying to articulate a golden thread for your work? Is there anything that you think is more difficult? Is it because you are not very clear? Those people who answer, you can also tell me if it's quicker. Just have a little chat on here rather than typing. If anyone wants to interact at this point, it's brave enough to say something. That would be quite nice. I don't know if anyone has their hand up. I'm looking at the chat. In our team. Oh, I'm just going to answer these questions in the meantime. So we go more quickly as we wait for people to. Alizi, just hand up. Great.